this is a picture of me and my mom, and you might think the POW is the mini-skirt Girl Scout uniform that I'm wearing. I'm sure that was a POW for my leader, or that mom is still in polyester, and this time it's plaid. But I can assure you that the POW has nothing to do with fashion. When I was 12 years old, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, this was in 1972. Those of you that pay attention to dates, her 40th birthday was in 1974. So she was 38 years old. Luckily, we lived in Atlanta because it was a big city that had excellent health care. But this was before Susan Komen for the Cure. This was before anyone had heard of a mammogram or a mastectomy. Certainly, professional athletes were not wearing pink, and yogurt containers did not have ribbons on them. This was a POW of monumental proportions. But remember, I told you my mom was that first chief paradise officer that I ever knew. And one of the things that she continued to instill upon my sisters and I, because she'd been telling us this all along, but it became really apparent now, was that it doesn't matter what POWs you get hit with. What matters is how you respond to them. Again, sounds very cliche when you're sitting in a comfortable conference facility, but in real life, when you get hit with a POW, you often feel powerless. We forget that we have any power over the POW or the way that we respond to it. Because, if you don't remember anything else, what you want to remember is, see, you can sing it with me. You can do the moves. No one's doing the moves with me. This is embarrassing. This side's doing it better than this side. Okay, my kids would be mortified now if they could see me doing that. So, when people see you walking down the hall and you've been hit with a POW and you're doing this, we'll know that you're singing the song in your head, even if you're not singing it out loud. Something you can share with your team, and then everybody can be walking around knowing they've got the power. Because we want to shrink POWs, but we want to create more of is wows. And a wow is something internal or external that makes you happy and satisfied and energized. Who wants more wows? Everybody? Yeah, definitely. And so if we're trying to shrink POWs, we're trying to grow wows. External wows are things like, oh, maybe meeting your budget numbers, or getting a compliment from a patient or a family member, or when you see other team members working together, or someone mentoring someone else. Those all get you satisfied and energized. But what about the internal wows? One of the easiest ways to create internal wows is through gratitude. Now, those of you that like evidence, there's tons of evidence out there now that scientists have proven that gratitude practice actually changes your physiological, your body. You know, it helps your blood pressure be lower. It helps your immune system kick in. So when my kids were little, we used to have a ritual where at dinner time we'd say a blessing, and then we would say, what's the best thing that happened to you today? And it was awesome because we were getting them to recognize the good things in their lives, and we were getting to hear what was good for them. And as we've gotten older and my kids have moved out, my husband and I started a new tradition. We take our forks and we clink them together like you would a champagne glass, and we each say 5 things that we're grateful for. And when I say we each say 5 things that we're grateful for, usually I say 5 things that I'm grateful for, and my husband says, "That's good, can we eat now?" Sometimes he chimes in, but you get the idea. What we've done is we've created a gratitude trigger. Yours doesn't have to be dinner time. Another gratitude trigger for me is when I shampoo my hair. I travel a lot. I bring my hair with me everywhere I travel. And so I'm in the shower, showering, and I have time to myself, and I think, what am I grateful for? That's a trigger for me. For people who work in a hospital or drive to work, I work at home, so it's a little bit different, but I've had those folks say, use the time when I'm pulling into the parking lot. From when I pull in till I find a spot, that's my gratitude trigger. I think about what I'm grateful for. And then as I'm leaving, I think about the same thing. Make it whatever works for you, but have gratitude triggers in place, because that's the easiest way to grow those internal wows. Now, the really cool thing about the wow is you can make it with your body. You can take your fingers and put them in W's and use your face in the middle. And when something great happens, you can go, wow! I know some of you are never going to do that. But I know there's some of you that would like to do it. How's this conference been for you? Nice, nice. I like it, I like it. Now, I will warn you, if you go back and your boss says, hey, how was the OR manager conference? And you go, wow. They might not send you back again, so don't do that. You want to make sure you warm up to the idea before you get to the wow moment. And you know what? I've used this with patients as well. So something great happens, a patient gives you some good report, pain levels are down, and you go, wow. You know what happens in healthcare is we kind of take ourselves seriously a lot because we know we're in a serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun when it's appropriate. And there's plenty of times when it is appropriate to lighten up a little bit, to not take ourselves so seriously, to take that time out and recharge by taking notice of the wow. So I want you to think of a recent workplace wow, and I want you to share it with your neighbor next to you. Here's how it's going to work. You're going to have 1 minute to do this. You're going to share your wow. The other person, feel free to go, wow. Then the other person shares, and you go, wow. And then you're done. Okay? So it's going to be quick. Might take you, the longest part might be thinking of a recent wow, but hopefully they're just flowing in your head right now. So you're ready to share your wow?